District Board of Education regular meeting being held at the Roosevelt Administrative Offices, February 9th, 2015. It is now 6:30. Jeff, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Blowers?
Here.
Mr. Carr?
Here.
Mr. Harden?
Here.
Ms. Niggum?
Here.
Mr. Blind?
Here. Okay, Tim, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, under resolutions, recognitions, we do have a resolution tonight. This is one that Mike has taken the lead on and done quite a bit of work getting it ready for us. Mike, would you give a very brief background on it and then read the resolution, please?
The intent of this resolution is in the spirit of actually came from the 5 of 8 rule issue, and after some discussion with board members, there were deeper issues at stake, and so this is a culmination of basically three different issues. One being the trying to support the integrity of music, art, and physical education in the schools. Also, it has to do with local control by local school boards, and also it has to do with the Ohio model for funding schools. So with that, I will begin. Dear honorable members of the Ohio Board of Education, let it be known that the Newark City Schools Board of Education supports the arts and local control. And whereas the Newark City Schools Board of Education believes that new language must be adopted into the Ohio Board of Education operating standards that establishes a uniform expectation for all Ohio local school districts, which treats the educational and academic disciplines of music, art, and physical education in equal terms with other educational and academic disciplines, while permitting local school districts to exercise their constitutional rights and responsibilities in local control and decision-making to approve a comprehensive course of study that meets the needs of their students. And whereas the Newark City Schools Board of Education believes that it is the constitutional responsibility of the Ohio General Assembly to establish and properly fund a system of public education for all public school districts that is comprehensive and well-rounded in scope to include the humanities, sciences, and the arts. And whereas the Newark City Schools Board of Education believes this is an appropriate time for the Ohio Board of Education, the Ohio General Assembly, the Ohio Department of Education, and the Ohio School Board Association to turn this particular discussion into a discussion about the real value of a comprehensive and well-rounded public education for all Ohio students, and return to the work of correcting the Ohio funding formula as mandated by the Ohio Constitution to provide a thorough and efficient system of common schools throughout the state. And whereas the Newark City Schools Board of Education, Newark, Ohio, calls upon the Ohio Board of Education to petition the Ohio General Assembly to begin work on a bipartisan plan to correct the Ohio funding formula for the benefit of all Ohio children. Therefore, know the Newark City Schools Board of Education to be resolute in its support for the introduction of new language into the Ohio Board of Education operating standards and financial safeguards incentives to support the integrity of music, art, and physical education for Ohio students until the Ohio General Assembly develops a new constitutional funding model for Ohio schools that will adequately and equitably fund a comprehensive education for all Ohio public school districts. End of resolution.
Do we have a motion to approve the resolution?
I'll move.
Second.
Discussion? I would like to say, just as a point here, that when we first discussed this, Mike brought it to us, and the 5 members' opinions were all over the board. And Mike has worked and worked to revise, bring it back, revise it, bring it back, to get it to something that all 5 of us, I think all 5 of us, feel comfortable with. He's worked on it himself. He's met with Stephanie Dodd several times, who is our area's representative to the State Board of Education. And this has been, it is the result of Mike's hard work. Any other comments? Call the roll, please, Jeff.
Mr. Carr,
Yes.
Ms. Nickam,
Yes.
Mr. Blowers,
Yes.
Mr. Harden,
Yes.
Mr. Blind.
Yes. Okay, we'll be signing this at the end of the meeting, and Mike will be taking copies to every member of the Ohio Board of Education. Okay, any special reports, recognitions?
No, not tonight.
Okay, we'll move on to communications from the floor. If anyone has anything they'd like to discuss, please come to the podium, give your name, your address, and you'll have up to 5 minutes. Somehow it's not a real lively looking crowd out there tonight.
Full house but quiet.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, we'll move on then to treasurer's recommendations.
Item 2A is approval of board meeting minutes. It's recommended the minutes of the following board meeting approved as shown in the appendix for January 3rd, 2015, organizational and regular meeting work session. Item 2B is approval of January 2015 financial statements and payments to vendors. We earned $5,874.39 in interest this month, and our fund balances are general fund $19,130,000. Bond retirement is a negative $50,000. Permanent improvement is $950,000. Building fund is $100,000. Food service is $1,310,000. OSFC project local is $120,000. OSFC project state share is $1,610,000. Insurance fund reserve is $2,550,000. Classroom facilities monies is $2,610,000. Miscellaneous other is $830,000. For a total of $29,156,783, which agrees with the bank. Item 2C is approval of fiscal year 15 supplemental appropriations. We have 3 funds. The general fund is an additional $101,920. That is for the general fund for the tech department purchase service to replace staff of $70,000. General fund speech ed for $24,920 staff. General fund board staff retirement at $7,000 for the Heisey Cats. The other 2 are 018 public support, $5,700 from Carson, where COSI t-shirts were raised, and donations of equipment of $200. Other grants with $3,397. They were the Hazlitt Scholarship, $1,595.80, Tucker Scholarship, $801.61, CV Target Grant of $1,000. After that, I would entertain any questions or comments.
I make a motion.
Second? Mike?
Second.
Okay, discussion, questions? Okay, Jeff, call the roll.
Mr. Harden?
Yes.
Mr. Blowers?
Yes.
Mr. Carr?
Yes.
Ms. Nickam?
Yes.
Mr. Blind?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, superintendent's recommendations. Doug?
Under personnel, I want to mention some retirements that we have. And as always, I miss these people. They do a wonderful job for us and many years of caring for our kids. Rona Berry, who is 6th grade math at Liberty. Martha Harmon, our principal at McGuffey. Christy Hunkler, intervention specialist at Liberty. Elise McPhee, intervention specialist at the high school. Lori McMasters, music at Hillview. Debbie Knopfs, Title I kindergarten at Carson. And Randy Knopfs, math at the high school. Plus, as I mentioned to you, that Randy will be continuing on as our cross-country and track, so we're not losing him completely. It was a fantastic job for us. Under item number 4, supplemental contracts, Scott Nichols will be our new girls high school soccer coach, and we appreciate all that Vance did and excited that Scott is joining that. We also have some salary adjustments due to coursework being completed, and so I recommend items 1 through 8 under personnel.
Have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Questions? Discussion?
Second.
I will just say, one of these retirements is a high school classmate of mine, and she's really making me feel old.
I would say one of them has my son this year, so I can't help but think perhaps that may have prompted.
I still think Tom should just feel that.
Just on general principles.
Just-
Okay, Jeff, call the roll, please.
Ms. Nickam?
Yes.
Mr. Blowers?
Yes.
Mr. Carr?
Yes.
Mr. Harden?
Yes.
Mr. Blind?
Yes.
Under students and curriculum, our special education contracts, Eagle Wings, East Knox, local schools, and Johnstown Monroe schools. Under 6 other, a public announcement regarding Part B special education funds, and it's required that we read this each year. It's recommended the following announcement be made. The Newark City Schools Special Education Department will soon be applying for Part B grant monies for the 2015-2016 school year. These are federal funds used to support the education of students with disabilities for whom Newark City Schools is financially responsible. Each year, the district collects input from parents, staff, and community members regarding the expenditure of these funds. If you have any ideas regarding the use of these funds, please send comments or requests by April 1st, 2015 to either Jean Brown or Linda Price via electronic email or in written form to Newark City Schools, 621 Mount Vernon Road, Newark, Ohio 43055. Under item B, out-of-state field trips, the orchestra will be going to Walt Disney World over spring break, which we're excited for our orchestra students, and Mr. Lape, and is just doing a fantastic job with our orchestra, and we've got some great kids, so I'm excited for those students to go to Disney World. Item C, gifts. We have 200 books to the high school and middle schools from Charles Naylor in memory of Joseph Naylor Jr. And also, we have Sarah Lighthouser, $200 to Ben Franklin for sporting equipment. We always appreciate gifts, and we're very thankful to our community who think of us under that. So, items A through D.
Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion, questions? Okay, Jeff?
Mr. Blowers?
Yes.
Ms. Nickam?
Yes.
Mr. Carr?
Yes.
Mr. Harden?
Yes.
Mr. Blind?
Yes.
Okay, Tom, under Board of Education recommendations, we have a addendum to place on that, and this is for personnel. And it will rehire salaries for administrators. The Board of Education is asked to approve the recommendation that if an administrator in Newark City Schools is retired, then rehired through the Newark City Schools, his or her salary will be based on a 14% reduction from his or her most recent contract. I don't know if you want to mention any.
Let's get a motion first.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Second.
Okay, discussion? I think one thing I do want to mention, this came about in our contract with the Teachers Association. It calls for, should a teacher retire, rehire, they move back to step 12 on the pay scale, which represents approximately 80% or 86% of a full tenured teacher, maxed out teacher, I guess. And when the board discussed it, we felt that if we have that adjustment for the teaching staff, it was only fair to have that same adjustment for the administrative staff. And anybody else want to chime in and a little more explanation of what and why we're doing that? Okay. Call the roll, please, Jeff.
Mr. Harden?
Yes.
Mr. Carr?
Yes.
Mr. Blowers?
Yes.
Ms. Nickam?
Yes.
Mr. Blind?
Yes. Okay, do we have a legislative liaison report?
No, sir.
Which brings us then to board discussion. Start at the end, Mr. Mike Flowers.
I think I've said enough tonight. I thank you for your time and support, so thank you.
I'm not going to pass. I'm going to thank Mike for incorporating the feedback from the other board members into his resolution. You produced a really good document that I thought captured everyone's wishes, and so I appreciate that. Thank you. And I pass.
I want to second that. Tremendous job, Mike, in making clear to those folks who will read that we support local control on their education. It'd be nice if those who are in charge of our state funding would get that squared away. And most importantly, some of the other things the kids take besides the academic classes are also essential to them growing up. And that's at least what I took you to say. I mean, there's some really fabulous words that I didn't understand all of, but
You voted for it.
I voted for it anyway. So, well, Congress did that lots, so
And here we are.
that's just anyway. And thanks to the folks who give gifts. When you give gifts of books, kids get to read and they get to learn, and knowledge is a wonderful thing for them. So, thanks to those folks who gave gifts to our schools.
Ms. Nickam.
Just spring's right around the corner. The next couple months will be very busy with lots of tournaments for our winter sports, getting started on our spring sports, and then of course the spring musical and spring OMAA competitions for fine arts will all be taking place. So there's always something fun on almost any evening of the week to do to go cheer on Newark City Schools kids.
Jeff.
I'd just like to thank the Newark Advocate for the attention that they pay to school funding and for the recent article that's been done this past week. But I would caution the public and our voting public and the Newark citizenry. The article in the paper portrayed that Newark City Schools would be getting about $6 million over the next 2 years with Governor Kasich's proposal. I hope that is true. Although what I'm cautioning everybody tonight is that is a long way from being final, because all the legislators in the State House has to weigh in on that and has to approve that final budget. And we're a long way from August, which is probably when the final budget would come out. And there can be a lot of changes in that. And although I don't know all the details of it, it looks very good for Newark, but not so good for the rest of our neighboring county schools. So I'm not sure it's a good, fair allocation. So just take it as a grain of salt at this point and listen to a lot of debate on it before the numbers become final. I've already been asked to speak three times on it, and I apologize to the community, but I don't like to speak on what I don't think is truly going to happen. They're going to be the final numbers, because I don't want to get 6 different numbers out there for the public to be looking at and talking about. I'd rather wait closer to July or August when Newark's numbers are more finalized. Then I would rather present it to the public in my 5-year forecast at that time. So I apologize for not speaking to the different civic groups. I don't feel the numbers are good enough to talk to at this point. And just listen to the debate, weigh in on the debate. As the board has mentioned here, the legislature needs to address full funding for Ohio schools. They don't need to be setting academic standards where there's no experts. They're responsible for money to the communities and money to the state, and that's what they need to address at the State House for public schools. Thank you.
Well said, Jeff. I agree with that. I'm going to talk a little bit about teamwork, but before I do, I'm going to make mention of, since seems to be a legislative night here, the frustration the district has on with the state mandated testing and what it does to our school days here. We test too much, and it's really changed, particularly our high school schedule here in the coming months. And so please have an understanding that we're not just going to throw 150 kids in a big room and put a test in front of them. And so we believe in smaller numbers and those kind of things, but it does affect our schedules, and we appreciate the patience our community has with that. On the positive side, I've got a great position here at the district, and it allows me to get in all the buildings and see the district as a big picture, so to speak. And the past few weeks, I've really been inspired and by teamwork that we have in this district. And I sat, I'll start with the congratulations to the inductees in the Hall of Fame. It's a wonderful, wonderful event we have here. Get recognized in front of our community, and thank our community for coming out and supporting our kids at a ball game. And nobody gets crowds in the OCC like the Newark Wildcats do, and so we get a tremendous amount of support from our community. Just watching those inductees, who some graduated in 79, 81, way back there, and what they've made of themselves through the education that they received here in Newark is just outstanding. And it makes you feel proud to be part of this system. And you know, we talk about it's a great time to be a cat, but it's always been a great time to be a cat, and that's evidence of that. But the thing that really caught my eye Friday, and it was a long day when you're here all day, you're at a basketball game, and then you're at a Hall of Fame reception. Next thing you know, it's 11:15 on a Friday night. And Jeff Quackenbush and Pam Evans put that on with our boosters. But sticking around afterwards and help clearing tables and cleaning up, we had about 5 or 6 cleaning personnel from the high school converge in on that place and leave their areas that they're responsible for to help one of their teammates. We had booster club members, people like that. It was really an awesome sight to see so many people helping at the end and doing what in 15 minutes, what would have taken 2 or 3, a couple hours. And that's all part of a team, and we appreciate everything that all our boosters and our cleaning personnel and our athletic department do for that. But probably the most humbling experience I've had in the past couple weeks is the passing of a student at Carson Elementary, Ruthie, who's such a great little girl and taught us so much about courage and having a great attitude. Wonderful, wonderful little young lady. But the teamwork that our district showed and the caring attitude that all of our buildings showed, and one Friday night raising $7,500. And to go down there that night and see that place was packed, there wasn't a place to park, there's so many good things going on in there that helped ease a burden for the family was really impressive. And so I congratulate our parents and our students and our staff, and the work that Sarah Burles has done to lead her staff through this is just remarkable. And so we're appreciative of that. Last thing I would mention then is high school scheduling. We've witnessed the past couple of weeks of our middle schools educating our students on what's being offered, our guidance counselors going to the middle schools, our administrators working hard to educate our kids, and then coming up to the high school, I believe it was last Tuesday night, just packed here. And so I'm really appreciative of our parents for attending that. It was wall to wall in the media center that night, and the staff went over the guidelines and schedules and things like that, and answered questions. And again, Barbara and Gim and I met with a parent today that is moving into the district, and we're excited for that. Good people. And we say to them, and what I say to everybody, if at any time any of us can help you be more comfortable in our buildings, please don't hesitate to call and ask, and we'll be more than happy to take you out and walk you through the process as many times as we have to. So excited about being a cat.
Thank you, Doug. I'd also like to mention the job that Sarah Burles and her staff have done out at Carson the last few weeks in rather trying times. No reason for me to elaborate any more than what Doug's already said. We've mentioned, the student activities, winter sports are getting into the tournaments. Boys and girls, varsity basketball, both may well win the league, which is quite an accomplishment. And something I wasn't going to mention, but Doug talking about the teamwork and the support. I happen to work with a fellow who's been an assistant coach for one of the boys teams in our league who we happened to beat at home here a couple weeks ago. And he was telling me a couple days later about how intimidating it is for their team to come to Newark because of the crowd that we get and how involved our crowd is and how he admires the program and just the overall community support that we get there. And I just thought that was even neater than winning the basketball game, to hear another coach say that. And along with that, Kim Royster became our all-time leading basketball scorer last week. And a few days earlier, Jordan Dardis became the all-time leading boys scorer. And if I'm not mistaken, they're neck and neck, and it's going to be interesting to see which one of them ends up being the all-time leading scorer. Probably going to come down to whose team goes the farthest in the tournament, and I don't see either one of them going out very soon. So a lot of things going on. Get out and support the Cats. And with that, I'll accept a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second it?
Yes.
Mr. Harden?
Yes.
Ms. Nickam?
Yes.
Mr. Blowers?
Yes.
Mr. Carr?
Yes.
Mr. Blind?
Yes.
We adjourned at 6:59.
Sounds like
Pretty good, considering we started late.
Should have been 6:56, is that what you were saying?
See, I knew how short it'd be.